The month of September. The worst month of the year. No one likes September. Summer's almost over, school's back in session, and the weather sucks. This month doesn't have much going for it outside of one thing. It comes before an actually decent month. October, the spookiest time of the year. Fear will soon permeate the very air, and the frights will come in many forms. You got your jump scares, eldritch entities, vampires, along with terrifying locales such as abandoned amusement parks, Detroit, Michigan, and the Catacombs. The Catacombs of Paris, a place well in our imaginations as a creepy, frightening environment. But with that being said, most people just know it as a cave full of bones underneath Paris. So with that in mind, what's the deal with the Catacombs? To talk about the Parisian Catacombs, we must first start in pre-revolutionary France. And by pre-revolutionary, I mean right before people started getting guillotined. Picture this. It's 1770, you're some townsman peasant living in Paris, it's a beautiful morning, and you're walking to your job as a carpenter. You turn the street and... graveyard. Why is there an open, festering, disgusting graveyard in the middle of a city, you might ask? Well, like most classical and medieval settlements, Paris was developed and planned around a river. On the eastern bank, you had the town proper, and on the west bank, you had farmland, parishes, and graveyards. As Paris's urban region grew and expanded throughout the centuries, it engulfed these rural and suburban areas, along with the many graveyards therein. Now they're smack dab in the middle of urban Paris, overused, and filthy. The Holy Innocent Cemetery, the largest cemetery in Paris at the time, was by and large the worst contributor to the issue. It could accurately be described as an open-air mass grave, and by the 18th century it was overflowing. You had people building roof storage walkways filled with corpses just to make space, the walls around the cemetery began collapsing from the piles of dead, and on top of that, the area around St. Innocents suffered from great sickness and disease. You know, there were gross, decaying human corpses over there. This issue wasn't going to sit well for the king at the time, Louis XIV.
Les rues de Paris sont jonchées de maladies grâce à ces cimetières-villes. On a besoin de les condamner et de exhumer les morts. Mais comment? Oh tabarnak!
Votre Altesse, il y avait une autre grotte dans la rue de Paris.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Votre Altesse, nous avons cru le calcaire sur Paris pendant les siècles. Il y a des crues partout sur la ville.
Eh mais c'est quoi ça?
A lot of classic Parisian buildings used limestone mined beneath the city. Limestone as a construction material is great and gave Paris that pretty white facade. Unfortunately, by the 1700s, the streets of Paris were collapsing thanks to centuries of mining below. A truly ironic situation, and one the king set to address. In 1777, mine inspectors were sent down to restructure the caves beneath Paris. This gave stability to the land above and effective storage space below. Making use of the new area, King Louis issued for the dead in Paris to be exhumed and interred below ground. By 1785, over 2 million corpses from St. Innocents and various other urban cemeteries were exhumed and basically thrown underground. And thus, the Catacombs came into being. Though at its inception it was basically a cave full of bones and rats. It didn't have that apex creepy, super spooky aesthetic going for it yet. Fortunately, in 1810 this guy,
Louis-Étienne François Héricard Faron, Vicomte de Thury,
went before the Parisian council and said, "Hey, let's build some walls made of femurs and skulls underground." And the council approved of it. A concerted effort was made to improve, renovate, and beautify the catacombs, in a most gothic sense. Skulls and bones were reused and artistically arranged, tombstones and other graveyard fixtures were used to embellish the walls, and in addition, signs were placed detailing which cemetery the nearby skeletons came from, along with some ominous inscriptions. With that, the Parisian catacombs as we know them were born, and fans of frights and fears rejoiced. However, outside of the historical and spook factor, the Parisian catacombs have been a fairly mundane thing. There's a museum and guided tours above ground, a shitty movie got shot there, and the passageways themselves have been used for the kind of thievery and shenanigans you'd expect from an underground cave filled with skulls. Hey, thanks for reaching it to the end of this video. This is my first time doing long-form content like this, so if you have any comments or criticisms, feel free to throw them my way. I do plan on making more videos like this in the future, so if this is something that you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks again.